There's a lot of sensitivity involved in drawing a rose. And the number one basic question is, well, what shape is this rose? The one thing I'm going to do is just sort of begin and just sort of give myself some places where this rose, knowing that it's round, you know, it has a round shape to it, that it's going to sort of fall right in this area, right? This thing sort of begins as a bud and as this round cylindrical sort of shape. By and large, if I were to break it down into a shape, I'm going to break it down into like this sort of a thing. As you get your work your way in, there's this, everything starts like being really tightly woven in here. And it's really sort of like that, if that makes sense. And it starts unfolding. So I'm going to start from the inside, and I'm going to just draw that this is really tightly woven in there. And then there's this and these other petals that sort of start coming out of this, sort of laying flat and almost horizontally. The number one thing I think that's probably the most helpful, at least for the way I learn, is to think about, well, what is this thing? What is the shape of it? What's going on here? You know? And I think those are the questions that probably can help you in the long run, because every rose is going to be different. At this point, I'm just sort of working out of this shape, and I'm just sort of drawing myself some of these loose petals as they sort of wrap around this bud. Some of the edges just sort of disappear into each other. Some of these edges sort of like start going horizontally and sort of facing upwards. At this point, you can see that, like, if and I haven't even put tone in, but I will put some tone down in here, because this thing is all going, you know, this whole extremely soft, delicate petal is going down into the shadow here. But right now, I'm just sort of drawing each sort of shape. And then I keep coming back to this edge here. These edges are all conforming around this bud. You can see how all of this goes down into this valley, this cave down in here. We can erase things as well to sort of see what we have, but I do want to remember where this base is. And then this is another petal that's really been pushed out and really been open for quite some time. I'm just going to darken that a tad. And you will have the stem that is in here as well. And once you add that in, it starts to feel a little bit better. And every petal I put in there, I want that petal to, every shape to sort of serve the main shape. And the main shape, like I said, is that. You can see it's looking pretty cool right now, and I haven't even really added a lot of tone. But I want to put in a few more clarifying sort of petals, add those in, and be done with this. You can see where I'm holding my pen, my charcoal pencil. It's at the end, and that allows me just to have a little bit nicer moves, as opposed to holding my pencil or whatever right here. This tightens me up, and drawings aren't as nice if I draw from that edge of the drawing device. But if I hold it back, I get wonderful little accidents and cool little things that happen. So again, watch this. I'm going to track this line through this, and I'm going to draw myself the remaining part of that bud right in here. Strange little thing happening here, but then there's one more little flowery sort of petal that's sort of defined here. Now the one thing I would do right now is go in and just sort of erase some of these little places that might sort of hinder this rose. Now I'm going to clean up some of my lines. So the next thing I would do is remember too that these things are round, you know, and as I do my shapes and add my tone in, I'm thinking about these things, that these are actually round. Like, this is a round petal. And so I don't have to show it with line, but I do want to think about those things as I add my tone in. Roses are gentle, and they're soft, and there's not a lot of dark spaces, nothing extremely black, you know. And I'm using my pencil, my finger right now, just to sort of darken in some things. You always want to work your way to going really dark. Don't get too heavy-handed. Don't press too hard. Keep this drawing no darker than like on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 7 or a 6. Just want to darken this down in here a little bit more. What you can do is, I come in with a kneaded eraser. I just want to erase out some of the light hitting. Sort of show you this little move, but this helps it actually as I bring the sort of like smudge and add this sort of like, it's almost like I'm adding this value over the whole rose. I'm sort of smoothing it out a little bit, and it feels good. It doesn't have a lot of white spaces breaking it up, but it feels like it's overall has a value and a tone. All I would do, just to help clarify this in the short minutes that I have, is I'm going to come in and I'm just going to erase out some of the light. And it's just going to help bring it together a little bit more.
Every great artist begins with the fundamentals. In his course, Drawing Fundamentals with Thomas Fluharty, award-winning illustrator Thomas Fluharty will coach you through the foundational skills that he employs to draw. You'll learn how to see your subject, effectively use tones, perspective, and composition, and much more. So whether you're a young artist just beginning your artistic journey or an older artist who has never been formally trained in fundamentals, in sharing with you his vast knowledge, Thomas will help make drawings simple. Check out and bookmark his course on Schoolism.com. Now, back to the video.
Now, as far as a preference goes, I have a lot of line work sort of holding this whole image, this whole rose, only because I drew it like that. If I did this as a final piece and I wanted to be more sensitive, I would not have a bunch of lines in there. I would let value define that edge and not just a line. You know what I mean? Otherwise it starts looking like a comic book or a line drawing. But because it is a drawing little tutorial, I just wanted to show you and hold these lines and really represent this more with line. Alright, that's it. And the last thing I do, obviously, sign your name, okay?
Now, as always, if this video has helped you, spread it around with your friends, share it on your social media, things like that. Alright everyone, so if you like the video, you want to learn more, you want to improve as an artist, highly recommend clicking over to Schoolism, signing up for the newsletter, because in this newsletter, you will always get free videos and tutorials and news about Schoolism so you can keep up to date with what's going on in the world. Click over now, and I'll see you guys next time.